Do you consider yourself a creative person? Do you want to profit from your own creativity? Well, this video just might be for you. Now, this video isn't going to have some step-by-step layout, some plan that you can follow of how to sell, what to sell, and where to sell. This video is going to be more about the emotional process of creating anything and attempting to sell it. Honestly, this is coming from someone who has very little money, very little resources, and honestly, very little design skills. So first things first, you have an idea. You have this design in your head and it's exciting. The possibilities are endless on how you can execute. Maybe your design is something from your favorite show, or a quote that has helped you grow, or something you think will look cool and you would want to buy, and you can see it on a shirt, a cup, a banner. You can see it just about on anything and you are excited about it. By the way, this video isn't for anyone who is trying to make some generic shirt or mug and trying to push out some products to make an easy side hustle. Those are valid to whoever they serve, but not you and not me. It just wouldn't do. We are creatives. We want to love what we make. We want to feel a sense of creative validation, if you will. Or if it's not that deep, we at least want to not feel grimy and cringy from our designs. So you make the design, you hop onto Adobe, you try to sketch, you draw, you're creating, you're making, and it's all exciting. I call this phase passive positivity. And let me tell you why. Because this is where you're probably telling yourself, as I was telling myself, this is just for fun. I just like the show. No one needs to see it. This is just fun, cool fun. No pressure. I am just enjoying myself. It doesn't need to go beyond this. All while telling yourself, I hope they like it. I like it. Are other people gonna like it? Is it nice? Should I change the color? How the hell do you make a product anyway? And it is fun. You're having fun creating and you're experiencing like this joy and panic optimism of what could happen. And at the same time, there's this line of stress because what if it does happen and it changes everything? Or what if nothing happens and you did all this for no reason? It's not enough to like stop you from designing. It's enough to push you through. The possibilities of what could happen is this jittery joy. For me, I know I wanted something tailored to my likes, and my likes at this moment are these volleyball boys. Don't you dare judge me. Anyway, I started with a couple of designs. Now I am not some Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, and Design Pro designer. I certainly can be in the future, but I quickly went over to Canva, a design software that I'm comfortable with, and I got started on a couple designs. Here's the thing about passive positivity. It is dangerous. It is a phase where you're always tweaking, changing colors, trying to see what works and what doesn't. You're like wondering if this is nice enough, good enough. It is a stage that can keep you in design mode. And honestly, under it is just your fear of pushing forward. Procrastination at its finest. There's always going to be something that you can tweak, always a color that you can change, always moving something a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left. At this point now, there's nothing more that you can design. There's nothing more that you can tweak. You have to move to the next stage, which I'm calling product madness. I hate this phase. Product madness is the worst. This is where you're gonna have all the confusion, all the road bumps, all the questions. And honestly, it is going to be a phase where you use everything that is going wrong, inevitably as a sign of why you shouldn't be making something. Let's say you want to design a shirt and you go to the good old YouTube and begin researching. You find that you need X to make shirt. Oh no, X is expensive. I don't have money for X. So you look up for a different way to outsource the machine that requires to make the shirt. You'll make less money, but at least you finally have a design, a product that you like, and you have something to sell. Well, you started, but then someone in the family needs money or your time, so you help or you give your time, and now you're exhausted. You will tell yourself, I don't have time to make shirts. Everything is in the way. No, and I'm gonna say it one more time, no. But can I also say this? I feel for you, man. I really do. When I decided that I wanted my designs to be on a nice glass cup, it seemed like everything was suddenly out to get me. Not like actually, just in my head. Like, if there were a lot of dishes in the sink after a long shift at work, I would want to cry, because how am I supposed to continue my research on how to make vinyl cups with dishes in the sink? And it went even further than that. I live with a lot of people, and they are loud as fuck. And one day I was so overwhelmed with everything going on and trying this new adventure that I literally hid in the closet for 30 minutes just breathing. Oh my god, Temperance, you are so overwhelmed. Stop. Honestly, your product is a little silly anyway. It's literally about volleyball boys. Maybe you should try real estate. Can I say this? I know how ridiculous I was being. And at the same time, it didn't make anything feel less overwhelming. In order for me to make my haikyuu cups, I needed my design to print and cut on vinyl material. I found that there was a machine that can do that. It's called the Cricut, and not only is there maybe not a steep learning curve to it, it still was close to $170. Now, that may not seem like a big number to you, but it was for me. And I literally freaked out. Like, went to my mom's room and cried a little. Yup, I'm not afraid to admit that. I went to my mom and cried. Why? When you are a creative, you will inevitably try lots of things to make things. You've tried knitting, you painted, you filmed, you wrote, you were even into tarot for a little there. You try everything. And I love that about you. You also buy. You buy things not knowing if you will actually keep it within the week or a month, let alone years. It can be scary, at least for me, to constantly be shifting my interests and constantly spending on this and that and seeing all your efforts stacked in the corner of unfinished projects, like this mountain of shame to taunt you. So I was more than a little paralyzed at the fact that it was going to cost me $160 for another machine, not knowing how far and deep I was going to go into this. This phase, product madness, will test you. When you're creating anything at all, it will constantly be asking you, how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to wake up early, lose sleep, pick up an extra shift to cover the cost for a day, for a week, a month? Are you willing to not get that tattoo that means a lot to you, but you just can't afford both? How far are you willing to go for the product that you made that is yours, not knowing if anybody will buy it, let alone see it? All are hard questions, and even tougher if you're like me that has had to worry about money and finances their entire life. Risk feels great, and the perceived rejection of your product even greater. I am not qualified by all means to tell you that you should continue to make it, that do it, you'll be successful, because in all honesty, I don't know if you will. But I can share a little bit of why I continued. Simply, I hated how scared I was. My creativity scares me at the best of times because I'm such a dreamer and I don't see me not knowing how to do something as a reason to not do something. The scary part is being so scared you don't do anything. And I felt myself giving into that, giving into my anxiety over everything I decided would go wrong. I also wanted to make my mom proud. She told me when I went into her room crying, she literally said this to my face, "You never finish anything. You always do this. You have all these ideas that you want to do and try, and then as soon as this roadblock comes into your way, you quit. Make me one cup," she told me. "Just make me one. Make me one, and then you can quit then, but not until then." You think I'm gonna disappoint my mom? No, not gonna happen. So I bought the Cricut Air 2. I also had to buy a printer, hated that. I also bought the material, hated that too. It wasn't actually all that scary, and once you get the spending phase going, it doesn't actually feel like you're doing much. I also found out I had to buy a USB adapter. Hated that! Freaking Apple products. I would also say the only fun purchase was deciding on my glass cups. I made a whole Pinterest board on what I liked and what I didn't. Yes, I do enjoy Pinterest. All items were acquired, and now we're moving on to the next phase, the last phase, where you like this video and subscribe. Welcome to the final phase, and this phase I call trial and error. So I actually wrote this before my product was actually done. So I knew I wasn't expecting sunshines and rainbows just because I had bought a Cricut and a printer and pretty much had everything I needed. I knew things could still go wrong. And there were sure some errors, but eventually you do get a product. I could cry. I did cry. I cried and listened to this song that has been living rent free in my head. I felt like a woman that could wrestle a bear in the woods. Like, let's just say the emotions were high. Honestly, I could not have been more excited to actually try a product and try to sell it on Etsy. It has been fun, but it was an emotional roller coaster. And I feel like I have 2 more insights that I want to give to those who are small creatives, but still really want to make a product to sell. Here are my last 2 insights that I want to give you. I didn't speak about judging whether your design is good or not, because it doesn't matter. There are 5 billion people or something in the world. Bounds are one of them are going to like it. And my second insight, and this is so hard to say because it can really make or break whether you make a product or not, or finish any project in general, but I'm going to say it. It's okay to take a break from your project. I know that is super hard to say because what if you don't go back to it? And honestly, I understand that fear. That fear has won me over so many times. I just said I had a mountain of unfinished projects because I took a break, because it got too stressful and didn't return back. But also, a quote from one of my favorite plays is, don't be afraid to sit and think for a while. Or for me, hike. I went on this snowing hike with my friends and I truly believed it got me out of my head about making my cups. It was so cold, unexpected, and it gave me the release I needed from the draining thoughts of failure. So go on a hike, put a puzzle together, read, walk your dog, spend some time. I'm just saying that it's okay to take a break. Give yourself a day, maybe 2, maybe not a third, and then come back to your product revitalized, ready to attack the next obstacle. I'm so happy with my cups. I set up my Etsy site. I literally only have like 3 items in there. And if you're wondering if I made a sale, I've not. I literally put it up maybe 2 days ago or whenever I put up this video, hopefully by Friday. All right, guys, I hope I was able to shine a little bit of a light of what it feels like when you're making a product for the first time. If you have ever made a product, comment down below how it felt, about the challenges that you overcame, about the joy that you had in making them. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below. All right, guys, I guess I will see you in the next video. So long, Hotman.